Welcome back to our Advanced User Interface Technologies course. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss React Redux forms and its validation, one of the most important concepts while developing large-scale React applications. Until now, we have learned about React forms and Redux separately. Today, we will understand how these two work together to efficiently manage form data. By the end of this lecture, you will know why Redux is used with forms, how Redux manages form state, different types of form validation, how validation improves application quality, a simple Redux form example. So let's begin. Learning objectives. Before starting any topic, it is always useful to know what we are going to learn. After completing this lecture, you should be able to explain the React Redux forms. Second, understanding why validation is necessary, differentiate between client-side and server-side validation, identify common validation rules, manage form data using Redux, and finally understand how to build a simple validated Redux form. These concepts are frequently used in real-world applications like banking websites, shopping websites, hospital management systems, college ERP systems, social media applications. Every application that accepts user input performs validation. Introduction to React Redux Forms. Let us first understand React Redux Forms. Normally, React stores form values inside the component using useState. For example, if a user types name as John, React stores John inside the component itself. This works perfectly for small applications. But imagine a large application like Amazon. The customer enters name, address, phone number, payment details, coupon code. Many different components need access to this information. Instead of keeping separate state everywhere, Redux stores all form information in one central location called the Redux store. Think of it like this. Imagine every classroom has its own attendance register. Finding a student's attendance becomes difficult. Instead, suppose the college keeps one centralized database. Now every department accesses the same information. Redux works exactly like that. Now look at the diagram. The user enters the information, the React form receives it, Redux store stores it, updated UI displays the latest information. Every component receives the same updated data. This makes applications more reliable. Why use Redux for forms? Without Redux, developers face several problems. The problem 1, different components maintain separate states. Problem number 2, sharing data becomes difficult. Problem number 3, multi-step forms become complicated. Imagine an online admission application. The step 1 includes the personal details, step 2 follows the educational details, step 3 follows payment details, step 4 document upload. Without Redux, passing data across these pages becomes difficult. Redux solves this by storing everything in one place. Advantages include centralized data, easy debugging, consistent updates, scalability. Notice the illustration. The illustration explains the traditional forms and many component states. Redux forms only one Redux store. That is why enterprise applications prefer Redux. Components of React Redux forms. Now let us understand the main components. There are six important components. First, form component. This displays the input fields. Second, input controls. These include text boxes, checkboxes, radio buttons, drop downs. Third, Redux store. It stores all the user data. Fourth, actions. Actions tell Redux what happened. For example, update name, update email, login user. Fifth, reducers. Reducers receives actions and update the state. Finally, validation functions. These verify whether the entered information is correct. Together, these six components build a complete Redux form. So these are again the core components of Redux: form, store, action, reducer, validation. Form collects the user input, store stores form state, action sends user input, reducer updates form state, validation checks the correctness. Redux data flow. Redux always follows one-way data flow. Remember this point because it is frequently discussed. The flow is user, input field, dispatch action, reducer, Redux store, React component, updated user interface. Let us understand using an example. Suppose the user enters name equal to Alice, the input field captures this. React dispatches an action called update name. The reducer receives this action, it updates the Redux store. Finally, React automatically displays Alice inside the text box. Notice that data always moves in one direction. This makes debugging much easier. Form validation. Now let us move to one of the most important topics, form validation. Validation means checking whether user input satisfies predefined rules. Why is validation necessary? Suppose someone enters email ABC Gmail, there is no @ symbol. Clearly this is invalid. Or suppose password is 123, it is very weak. Validation prevents such incorrect data. Common validation rules include the required field, meaning the field cannot be empty, minimum length. So let's discuss one example. Password should contain at least 8 characters, maximum length, and it is useful for usernames. Email format must contain the @ symbol and the domain name. The password strength should contain uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters, numeric validation. Age should contain only numbers. Validation improves data quality, security, user experience, and reduces errors. Client side versus server side validation. There are two types of validation: client side validation, server side validation. Client side validation happens inside the browser. Example, while typing an email, the website immediately displays invalid email. The advantages includes very fast instant feedback, better user experience, but client-side validation alone is not secure. Users can bypass it. Therefore, server-side validation is mandatory. Server-side validation happens after submitting the form. The server again checks email, password, age, everything. Only then the data stored in the database. Example, suppose someone modifies the HTML using browser developer tools. Client validation may fail. Server validation catches this. Therefore, every professional application performs client-side validation plus server-side validation. Remember, client side improves user experience, server side improves security. Validation example. Let us see a registration form. The form contains name, email, password, confirm password. Possible validation messages are: name is required, enter a valid email, password must contain at least 8 characters, passwords do not match. Suppose the password entered is React123 and the confirm password is also React123. If it mismatches, the application immediately displays passwords do not match. This helps the users correct mistakes before submission. Notice how validation improves the user experience. Simple Redux form example. Now let us understand the Redux example shown in the slide. First, an action is created. The action contains type, update, name, payload, John. The payload carries the new value. Now this action reaches the reducer. Initially the state contains an empty name. When update name arrives, the reducer returns a new state. Now the name becomes John. Redux store updates automatically. React notices the updated state. The component re-renders. Finally, the screen displays John. This entire process happens within milliseconds. Remember the sequence: action, reducer, store, React UI. This is the backbone of Redux. Advantages and best practices. Let us summarize the advantages: centralized form state, easy debugging, predictable updates, reusable validation functions, suitable for enterprise applications. The best practices include: it always validates before submission, displays meaningful error messages, it keeps reducers pure, use meaningful action names, avoid duplicate validation logic. Following these practices makes applications easier to maintain. Let us quickly revise today's lecture. We learned React Redux forms store form data inside the Redux store. Redux provides centralized state management. Validation improves user experience and security. Client-side validation provides fast feedback. Server-side validation provides security. Redux follows one-way data flow. Actions update reducers. Reducers update the Redux store. React automatically refreshes the UI. These concepts form the foundation for building professional React applications. So let's come to an end of today's lecture on React Redux forms and its validation. I hope you now understand how Redux simplifies form management and why validation is an essential part of every web application. So thank you for watching this lecture and see you in the next lecture. Happy learning.